Welcome, welcome. If you're watching this video, that means you're one of the 4 Girls Rock Denver campers that is in the Beats track this year. I'm super excited for you to start making electronic music. Whether you've had any experience with GarageBand or an app on your phone or any other kind of electronic music, we'll get you started with some of the tools and information you'll need to have a fun couple of weeks. Speaking of fun, this next step isn't. It's pretty boring, but it's a good thing to check before you get started doing everything else. Oh, and here's Temmie, by the way. Hi, I'm Temmie. Temmie's gonna walk us through some things. So, if you're on a PC, you're gonna go down to your Windows icon and search for Control Panel. Click on it, go to Hardware and Sound, go to Sound, and you'll see a playback and recording section. Before you plug in anything, just make a note of what your computer is using to play sound and to record sound. Maybe even write it down. That way, if it pops up later, you'll know what it's called. You'll get what I'm talking about in a few minutes when we go over different kinds of playback and recording tools. If you're using a Mac, click on the Apple icon and go down to System Preferences. Click on Sound. And here you can see what kind of devices you're using for your input and output. Write those names down for future reference. If you're using a Chromebook and you go down to this little section, nothing really comes up if you don't have anything plugged in. But once you plug in headphones, this little thing will pop up. And if you click on it, it'll open your audio settings. Then you can see what kind of output and input devices you have connected. The next thing I want to talk about is your super cool USB bracelet. Yes, it's a USB drive, and yes, it's a bracelet. When you plug it in, it's going to look like this. It'll show up as UROC USB, and it'll have a folder called Audio Driver and a folder called Samples. You probably won't have to use this Audio Driver folder. It's kind of there for a backup plan. There are 4 of you with 4 different computers and 4 different audio interfaces, and I can't predict how they're going to interact. So for now, just copy the Audio Driver folder onto your computer, and hopefully you'll never have to use it. The samples folder is way more fun. Inside are dozens, if not hundreds, of samples, which are one of the basic building blocks of electronic music. Whether or not your Beats instructor is going to want you to use them or tell you how to use them is kind of up to them. But if you choose to make electronic music outside of camp, you'll have all of these at your disposal. All right, you ready? The next thing we're going to talk about is your audio interface. So each one of you received this box with some buttons and some holes and some knobs, and you might not know what to do with it, but it's your audio interface. An audio interface is good at doing 2 main things. It lets you input and output things like microphones, instruments, and speakers to your computer. Another thing it does is take some of the audio processing burden off of your computer. Every computer has a processor. It does most of the thinking and the hard work. And an audio interface tells the computer, hey, don't worry about thinking about audio, I'll take care of that. There are 3 different audio interfaces you might have. The first one is the Behringer U4A UM2. The second one is an M-Audio Fast Track. And the third is a Focusrite Scarlett 2i4 first generation. That means it's old. They're all going to be pretty similar. Each one has 2 inputs. The Behringer has a mic line input, which is a dual input. It's designed for XLR and 1/4-inch cables. An XLR cable is a mic cable, and a 1/4-inch cable is like a guitar cable. You can plug either an XLR or a 1/4-inch cable into the mic line 1 input, and you can plug a 1/4-inch cable into the instrument 2 input. These 3 pins on your mic cable are going to go into the 3 holes on your mic line 1 input. That was a pretty bad picture, so to show you a little more detail, I'm talking about these 3 holes right here that are surrounding the center hole. So you can put a 1/4-inch cable into the center hole, or you can connect an XLR cable that's going to fit in these 3 pins and this ring. The M-Audio Fast Track also has a mic and a guitar input, but the mic input on the Fast Track isn't a dual input. That means you can only plug an XLR cable into it. And the inputs on the Focusrite are both dual input. That means you can plug either an XLR or a 1/4-inch into either one. Each one of your inputs is going to have a gain knob. A gain knob controls how loud your signal is going into your interface. So if you turn it up as you're talking into your microphone and this signal light comes on, then you're in good shape. And if you turn it up too loud, this clip light will come on, and that's not what you want. The M Audio has a similar signal and clip light. Your gain knobs are also on the top. The Focusrite uses colors to tell you if you're too loud. If you're getting a good signal, this ring will be green. If it's kind of loud, it'll be orange. And if it's clipping, which is too loud, it'll turn red. These gain knobs are on the front. Everyone's going to have a direct monitor button or knob. Direct monitor basically means to listen to something right away. So if you want to hear your own voice coming through your mic into your audio interface and back through your headphones, press the direct monitor button. If you ever run into issues with SoundTrap or other programs where there seems to be a weird doubling of your voice, there seems to be two of you echoing each other really fast, turn your direct monitor button off, because that means there's a program that's playing your audio back to you at the same time as the direct monitor. So that's why it sounds like there are two of you. On the M Audio, it's right here. And on the Focusrite, it's actually a knob, not a button. If you turn it all the way to input, that's like pressing the direct monitor button on. If you turn it all the way to playback, that's like turning the direct monitor button off. And you can also switch between stereo and mono. So if you're noticing that you can only hear something in one ear, maybe change it to mono to make it a little more comfortable. And this is, you guessed it, your headphone jack. If we lent you headphones, or you have headphones with a cable that looks like this, then we also probably lent you an adapter that looks like this. You connect your 1/8 inch cable to your 1/8 inch to 1/4 inch adapter, and then you can plug it into your headphone jack. All the interfaces headphone jacks are going to be on the bottom right. The volume knob for the Behringer and the Fast Track are on the top, and for the Focusrite, it's on the side. Everyone has a plus 48V light on their interface, and it's not something that we're going to use. It's called Phantom Power, and it's for condenser mics, which we don't have. Make sure it's turned off on the Behringer, turned off on the back of the M Audio, and turned off on the back of the Focusrite. That will mean that this light is off. And then, arguably, the most important connection on your interface is the USB port. You'll use it to connect your USB cable to your computer. So let's do it. Let's connect our audio interface to our computer. The first time you connect it, it's a good idea not to have any other programs running. I'm not going to show you how to plug it in because you live in the 21st century and I'm pretty sure you've probably plugged in a USB cable before. After you connect it, your computer's going to do something like, think about it. It's going to be like, oh, you just connected something to me. Okay, thinking. And just give it some time to think. It's trying to figure out how to talk to it. If it asks you questions, just say yes. Yes, you do want to connect this device. It might take anywhere from a few seconds to a minute, and most of your devices should be what's called plug and play, to where you can connect it and your computer automatically knows what it is and how to talk to it. If it doesn't, this is where that fun audio driver folder comes in. If your computer asks you a question like, do you want to search for something on the web, or do you want to install it from somewhere on your computer? Click I want to install from somewhere on my computer, and select the driver for your specific interface. Remember the very first thing we learned in this video? How to check what audio device you have connected? Well, you might notice after you've connected your audio interface that it's changed. There should be something new in your playback and recording options. Make a note of what it's called and make sure it's the one that you want to use. Before you connect your microphone, make sure your gain knob is turned all the way down. You'll put one end of your XLR into your input and the other end into your microphone. Then slowly turn your gain knob up while you're talking until you see a signal light. If you see a clip light, then you've gone too far, and turn it down a little bit. Outside of the signal and clip lights, you'll know if your mic is too loud or too quiet because your band won't be able to hear you, or they'll be like, you're too loud. If you have another instrument to plug into your second input, go ahead. The cool thing about being in the Beats track is you're kind of every instrument at the same time. So now that we got that super fun audio interface stuff out of the way, let's talk about our MIDI controllers. There's so many different kinds of controllers, it's ridiculous. But basically, they're going to let you control things in your computer program physically to make it a little bit more musical and a little bit more fun. You might have buttons, sliders, knobs, keys, or trackpads. Or there are MIDI controllers you control with your breath. In any case, the first time you connect them to your computer's also going to have to think about it for a second. Like, what is this? Okay, it's not a keyboard. It's not a mouse. Okay, I think I know what this is. After it thinks about it for a second, it should be like, driver installed or something like that. If you run into any problems on this step, feel free to look for the driver online, or you can call or email me if you want help. Your controller's probably going to connect by either a regular USB to USB-A cable or a USB to mini USB cable. There's so many different programs you can use to make electronic music, but one of them is SoundTrap, and that's the one you're probably going to use in Beats class and with your band practice. Now that we have our MIDI controller plugged in, we can go to Settings and MIDI Settings. Click on this drop-down arrow and find your MIDI device that you plugged in. Press OK, and try adding a new track. I'm going to pick Drum and Beats. So I won't get too much into SoundTrap because that's going to be the job of your Beats instructors. But this is a sequencer. And if I click little notes in here, anywhere, and play it back, I mean, that's super fun. You can make a beat in like 3 seconds. But let's say I wanted to play something with my fingers instead of just clicking little boxes. If you have a MIDI controller connected and this little R is selected that enables recording mode for this track, don't get frustrated. SoundTrap is kind of limited because you can't change MIDI mappings, which means you can't perfectly match a controller to an instrument. But if you add a new instrument, add a different kind, and then make sure the record function is on for that one, you might have better luck. Get in the SoundTrap studio and play around. You can copy any loop just by dragging the end. And then you can loop things just by dragging this purple arrow. If I press record, while record mode is enabled, and the count-in is on, that'll give me a little time to prepare. And then let's play it back. Maybe you don't like the timing of something very much. You can double click on it to open the piano roll. Scroll around to find the notes that you played. Mine are pretty far apart, but I wasn't too happy with where this note was, so I can just click on it, drag it to where I want it to be. Let's see how this sounds. I like that a little bit better. You can also draw notes in the piano roll anywhere you want by double clicking. It can get real weird real fast. Not weird enough if you ask me, but to each their own. You should definitely check out the loop library, which is full of amazing loops. But you can also import a file. The samples on your USB bracelet can all be imported into your song. I can mute these other 2 tracks just to see what this sounds like by itself. Let's turn that up. Oh. Okay. Interesting. If you click on the show instrument, you can add effects. There's so many to choose from. What about delay? yeah, that's going to the beat. The loop library has tons of loops to choose from. They're separated by genre, instrument, and more. What's in the beats section? What is Beat 808 Electro Trash Too Hard? Not as hard as I thought it would be. Let's double click on it. It immediately gets added into our project. Any way that you make electronic music is the right way because A, it's fun, and B, all that matters is that you like it. So have fun, get weird, take risks, and press all the buttons. Press all the buttons! Oh, and remember at the beginning of the video when I told you to write down what kind of audio device your computer was using before you plugged in your interface? Yeah, that super boring thing we did a million years ago? Well, it'll come in handy because we found that sometimes when you're trying to use Zoom and SoundTrap at the same time, your computer gets confused as to which audio device it should use to record. Let's say we are trying to record a vocal track in SoundTrap. We can see our input device here. If it's not the right device, we can select it here. Similarly with Zoom, if you go to this arrow next to your mic, you can select your microphone or select your audio device. Make sure it's the one that you want to use and not your old one. Oh, and by the way, my name's Kate. I hope you have fun this year.